Hey, welcome to another short review with Telex here. I'm kind of excited about this. Not only is it one of my favorite distilleries, I like Highland Park, but this is also the Valfather, which is supposedly the peatiest whiskey they've ever released. And I've had my share of peaty whiskeys. My heart's usually in Isla and Campbelltown, but um, Islands are also great. Talisker, great distillery too. So let's take a look at this one. This one's 47% ABV. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depends on how you look at it. They're using refill casks, 100% maturation and refill casks on this one. And I believe it's to get that peat level higher. The good news is I did a lot of research and this is naturally colored, natural color, no coloring added. The chill filtering, though, is in question. And that's what I'm not quite 100% sure about, but verdict out on that. But I'm going to probably think it probably is, but don't take my word for it. We'll have to see what Highland Park says maybe at some point, but I'm not sure if they'll ever say about that. Anyway, nose. Mm. Stewed apples, not just regular, but stewed apples and pears. Hmm. Some tea in there, like some Lapsang Souchong, the Japanese kind of tea. Hmm. Little peat smoke, but that heather's there, the trademark heather that Highland Park brings. And some brininess toward the end of that nose. And I've let it sit out. It's neat. I don't mess with it at first. That comes later. It's a bit of oakiness on the palate. That's not bad though. Kind of sharp, but it's got a mild dark chocolate right off the gate too. I like that. Some interesting herbal notes. Some basil. Mm. Some molasses even. Along with some caramel for sweetness. And then the back side is that peat smoke. But interesting. Hmm. The finish is a bit. It's citrus. It's a lime. It's got a liminess to it. Not too big on that. I like the ashy properties that come. It's got kind of a white ash. It's a bit short. Black pepper falls into play, but it fades really quickly. Hmm. It's my only issue on that, but let's. I thought I had my little pipe out, but I don't. We're gonna give it like a little bit, and I'm talking like a drop. Usually, I'll use an eyedropper type thing to get it in there, and don't have it on the ready, but that's okay. This is I'm very light on the water when I'm adding. Hmm. Get that set for a second. It does change a lot on the nose. That's a good thing. Completely changes. More citrus tones on the nose this time. You get your lime and lemon up front. It has a bit of more florals, bright florals in there. Mm. And there's some mint in there too. That's interesting. That's a good thing. It does have a nice difference in the nose. Let's go in the palate and see. Hmm. It definitely tamed the palate, though. The peat smoke is definitely quite diminished and didn't really bring any other changes. Trying to think of if there's anything different on the finish, but not really. It's just a light version. I love the nose before and after the water, but hmm, the palate and the finish The palate is great before the water. After the water, I'm not a fan. The finish was lackluster before. To me, it's lackluster afterward too. The interesting thing about Highland Park is their peat levels, ppm, phenols per million, I think is what that technically stands for, but they're 12 to 15 when you look at Highland Park. Across the board, typically they're 12. They're, basic deal. The Valkyrie, which was the first of this series, I got my Highland Parks out here so you can kind of take a little look. The red next to that blue one is the Valkyrie. The blue one is the Valknut, which was the second. The Valkyrie was about 30 ppm. I didn't taste hot as far as peat. It wasn't like a Bruichladdich Octomore by any means, but it even wasn't at the level to me as like an Ardbeg 10 or a Laphroaig, which Ardbegs usually tend to be around 40. Laphroaig 10 is around 30. The Valkyrie had peat, but it's a different kind of peat. And I think it's what's kind of throwing me off with this is that the peat that they use is Orkney. It's not Isla peat that I'm used to. So that makes it a bit of a change. It's not as in your face as like an Ardbeg or as TCP iodine hospital bandage kind of like Laphroaig. This is more of a heathery floral peat. The smokiness is nice. The peat's nice. It's just when you think, I think this is supposed to be 35 to 40 ppm, and I just don't. It just doesn't feel that way. But I think it's just because of the difference of the peat. It's a solid glass. I mean, it feels a little young. I think there's some 14 to 15-year-old juice in here, but I think there might also be some young stuff in here, and that might be why they have it as an NES. And I think that's where that finish just doesn't pop. It doesn't like drive like I want it to. I'm thinking this is a 3.5 out of 5. It's above average. It's not big boy 4, star plus. I usually do 0.25 increments. But 3.5 I think is more than fair. It's a nice glass, and I do like the playing around with the water on the nose, especially. But I would pour a little bit, have that first, the nose, and then pour you a big pour for just enjoying the palate. You can get it at around $70 still, and at that price point, I usually don't factor that, I don't factor that into my score at all. But I think it's well worth it, if you could find it around 60 to $70. If it's like aftermarket down the road and they want to charge you 100 to 150, that's when it's a hard pass. But anything below, I'd say 75, I think is a fair deal. I see some people already joined. I'll be stopping this feed for the short review. We'll start a new one here in a second with Malt Muser. He's going to be talking about some other Highland Parks that he's been having and enjoying as well. So lunch of off for now, and I'll see you in a little bit.